Hi, and welcome to Modern Sages podcast. Today, Candace and I are going to be diving deep into the wisdom of plant medicine, the benefits, and some experiences that we have had in our everyday life. So stay tuned, and we can't wait to share more with you.
Welcome to Modern Sages podcast.
I'm Jen Gilbreth.
And I'm Candace Coons.
With over 25 years combined, we have delivered messages from beyond,
explored ancient healing wisdom, and integrated these profound teachings into our everyday life.
We are passionate about creating new ways of being human in the modern age by integrating the wisdom of the past with the present and coming into remembrance of who we truly are.
Are you ready to change your relationship to life itself? If the answer is yes, your journey begins now. So we usually start the show talking about a certain herb of the week. And since this whole show is going to be about the healing wisdom and power of plant medicine, we just decided that it'd be fun to kind of talk about some of the top 5 herbs that we would recommend to start your home apothecary, your medicine woman apothecary at home. And then we'll go in deeper into the conversations about plant medicine wisdom and all of that. How's that sound?
That is perfect.
Awesome.
Love it. I think that it's important that we understand when we talk about plant medicine, what it means, because plant medicine comes from Mother Earth, of course. And as shamans, as medicine women, we're very connected into herbs and supplements and living a high vibe life, which Mother Earth has given us all the tools that we need for that. But because we are a multidimensional being, meaning we're physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, that her plants and plant medicine also is here to help in our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects. And so we can take herbs and we can take different kinds of fruits and vegetables and all kinds of stuff to help us with our health, but it also is there to help us with our emotions, our spiritual sense, all of the things. And so we're going to dive deep into all of that too. But I think it's good to just be aware that because we are a multidimensional self, everything will affect us.
I feel like this is a great segue to kind of go on to the rest of our conversation, talking about plant medicine wisdom. And there are many different kinds of ways to take plant medicine. And this is kind of a controversial subject because a lot of times when people think about plant medicine, they think about peyote, ayahuasca, and all the different plant medicines, mushrooms, and there's so many plant medicines that Pachamama has created for our healing on some level. So those are plant medicines. Those are just they're stronger plant medicines. They are medicine. They're not made to be used in a recreational way. They are gateways to seeing things from a different perspective. They change us on a molecular level by intaking those things. And so they shift our perception, which can bring healing into our body, mind, and spirit. But they are considered the stronger plant medicines that Pachamama has created for us to bring balance and healing into our lives. So, but yeah, that's a controversial subject. And this seems to be rising in popularity right now because, and I will speak from my point of view, but there is a great awakening happening. We are moving into a different era of evolution. And this was predicted by our elders, our ancient elders and ancestors over hundreds of years, that this time was coming when Mother Nature or Pachamama's plants would be used to assist humanity back into remembrance of their true authentic identity in nature and their connection to all things. And this particular of the powerful, strong plant medicines is not for everybody, but it is made for individuals who have tried other pathways, and for whatever reason, they haven't been able to release the trauma in their bodies or they feel stagnant or stuck in a particular area of their lives, it can be a catalyst or a way to use this medicine to catapult them into a breakthrough, being able to see things, because these plant medicines come with wisdom teachings. And so that is their purpose with us. And humanity is to bring forth these wisdom teachings to us. Mm-hmm. And I love it because the shamanic path is, it makes you so aware of Pachamama's consciousness and that all things are alive. We hear about this in science, that crystals grow, and that they're made of molecules and things are moving, and there's protons and neutrons and all of these different things, and crystals grow. And so we hear about it scientifically, but what that is that is consciousness. There's consciousness in the crystals. There's consciousness in the plants. We actually have technology that you can use with plants to hear plants, they say, sing,
their frequency,
or to have their frequencies.
And they've been known to heal
yes.
all kinds of ailments. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we know about photosynthesis. We know that there's these molecules and we know things are alive, but if you can understand what that truly means and allow that to integrate into your being, that everything has consciousness, everything is connected, and that we have endless opportunities for connection, and that life is experienced in endless different ways. And this is what I love about plant wisdom medicine, is that those plant medicines invite you to see life from its perspective. And so being able to shift that perception can change everything, because perception is everything.
Absolutely.
Right? Perception is everything, so that is what we're going to be exploring and we're going to be talking about today, and some of our personal experiences. And we've talked about how herbs too, which is amazing, because we did a show with Sarah, the master herbalist, Maui master herbalist, Sarah. And she talked about how herbs will have certain colors that give you insight into how it helps the body. And what I've recognized too is not only is it physically, but it will give you insight into the energetic system as well. It'll give you insight into what areas or what chakras it's connected to and it's working on or bringing balance to. So we're not only multidimensional beings, but so are the plants. So is Pachamama. So are the crystals. So are all the animals that are around us. And this is what I feel like is such a great opportunity about looking into plant medicine wisdom, is it really helps integrate that knowing into yourself. I'm like, gosh, there's such amazing intelligence and consciousness everywhere that we can tap into.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to know that we are not here to say, oh, you need to do one thing or another. We're just opening up the door and talking about what has been talked about for thousands of years, what's been used for thousands of years. And I feel like I was completely closed off to anything when it came to plant medicine. I wouldn't even drink like teas because I thought it was a bad thing. But that's like a whole different story. But I think that knowing that, and like knowing that we have these tools, and if it calls to someone, that's awesome. If it doesn't call to someone, then maybe it isn't that time for them to explore in that way. But there is such wisdom in ancient principles or practices, especially in honoring plant medicine. And knowing that that's a beautiful opportunity if someone's called to it, 100% yes. But also it's using it with the right intention and having people have the proper knowledge to help guide you in that space. Because if not, it's a scary trip. Or if you're taking it in maybe not a natural form, it can also affect you negatively. One experience that so I was really kind of closed off to plant medicine. And I was like, nope, you can't do that. It's not good for you. And then meeting with you, Candace, and being more open to just seeing how Mother Earth provides things for us if we need it or if it can assist us. Um, it just opened my mind that, and I listened to this podcast on Joe Rogan, but it was a man who like studied ancient philosophies, and he talked about how he believed that a lot of people, even this is controversial, but he even believed that people in the Bible, like the prophets, they were ingesting or taking different kinds of plant medicine. Back in the day, they couldn't just pop a pill for headache. They didn't have that. They would take herbs, they would use the land for healing. And so he had like this really interesting interpretation about also how they were able to experience visions and receive a lot of guidance, was a lot of things through that, where they were like saying, I was here and my body was taken up to a mountaintop. Well, he was talking about how that could be induced by plant medicine or just around plant medicine. And so I was like, oh, that's an interesting concept. I'm not saying that's true or not true. I'm just saying it's an idea and a possibility. And then it just really opened my eyes to be like, wow, there's so much healing. And then you see how some people will go to 8 years of talk therapy, and then they'll go and do ayahuasca for a weekend, and they have had more healing done in those 2 days than 8 years of talk therapy. And so there's such strong wisdom that can be had and can be held and can be experienced. And so when we open up that space, my husband's like all about just trying different things. And we ended up going to Colorado, and he um, took part in like a sacred ceremony, and it was with like peyote. And it was really cool to be there. I didn't partake of it, but because it just didn't call to me. And I'm also a little bit nervous to do that. But it was really cool to be in that space, because we kind of like stepped into this energy grid. We're working with a shaman, and she had set up plants and crystals, and she had it all set up super beautifully. And she helped work through that. It was like so powerful to just experience it. But me even being there, being a part of it, helping sing the songs, helping chant, helping hold sacred space, I felt healed, and I felt a deeper connection to my body. And I felt the effects of that plant medicine, and I hadn't even taken it. But yet I was experiencing the difference that it brought, even in my space. And I don't know, I just think there's so much beautiful wisdom to be held there that we don't
Yes.
always see, we're not always aware of.
Yes. And a lot of times people are against using these stronger medicines because people fear what they don't know. And often it's because they haven't experienced that for themselves. And so they create this idea of like, oh, you're just participating in drugs and you're just doing this and you're just doing that. And this has a completely different energy. This is not about recreational, just fun use. This is for healing. This is powerful medicine. I'm super against people doing these kinds of trips without a shaman, without having a medicine man or a medicine woman who's been trained and who has studied this maybe for many generations in their family, who can help guide you through these journeys in a healthy way and help keep the energetic space, that container of sacred ceremony, clean as
Mhm.
they're taking you through this process. It's unwise to go into these circumstances with people without that experience, because it invites all kinds of energies into that space that could follow you around, can create disease and disharmony in your energetic system and cause more harm than good. So for me, there's a big warning here. It's like, this is not
Yes.
something you play with. This is powerful, powerful medicine, which means that you need to approach this with reverence and respect and strong intention, and to use it properly.
Mhm.
As we're supposed to be stewards, We're supposed to be stewards of Mother Earth, and we're supposed to hold reverence for her. But because of advanced technology and society and living in cities and walking on pavement sidewalks and not walking in nature, and this disconnect to Pachamama and her energies has created disharmony for us physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And we're being invited to bring those areas of our lives back into balance by connecting in with her sacred medicine. So if we approach it from that angle, then we're approaching it from a balanced place. If we're not, then you shouldn't be doing it.
Yes.
Bottom line.
It's so fascinating as you're speaking. I'm like watching, just focusing on you. And all of a sudden I see this big, you probably felt this, but it was like behind you, like your aura or like behind you opened up like this, like a big funnel behind you. And I was counting, it was 8 generations back on your, I'm trying to decide which side it's on, but it's like I see like 8 generations back. I see this female who has darker skin, and like darker brown hair. And I see her like holding such sacred, like I feel like she was someone who held deep wisdom and helped people find healing. But it's like I see her with you, and I see her like sharing her medicine with you through what you're doing and who you are. But I also see her talking about the sacredness of it, and how for her
Yes.
it was like, this was sacred. This was something that you had to be learned, you had to be taught, you had to teach it. Like it was like passed down very deeply. And people who are drawn to it, who might not be passed down, it's like going somewhere and experiencing the power, because it's not something to mess with. And I just see her saying it's beautiful,
Yes.
it's wise, it's healing. But I see her saying, but it's powerful. And if you don't use it the right way, it will come back and get you. Like it will,
Yes.
it will. And so I just see her like bringing this deep integration, but it's like I see her opening up this space by you, and just like even behind you, like I see her drumming and chanting and singing, and her like going in like in a circle and in a fire, and her here holding that space. And when you wear the blue, it connects you with her. She's so
Yeah.
connected into that space. Have
Yeah.
you met with her before?
Yes. And that is Dancing Eagle.
Okay, she's really young in this one though. She's
But
very
she's young.
young. Yeah.
But yeah, it is her energy. And we've talked about this in my family, that we knew that she was there, but everybody never, at that time in history, you had to be very hush about it, because if you were found out, you could be
Yeah, it was like she worked
removed.
one-on-one, like
Mm-hmm.
quietly. But I
Mm-hmm.
also see her talking about like braiding, like I'm seeing her like braiding different kinds of grasses as well. And like burning, instead of like, I see her like making, when people do sage or like the leaves, I see her like
Mm-hmm.
braiding these and like burning that, and like incense, and like clearing people's space like that as well.
That's so awesome.
But when I connect with Dancing Eagle, I feel like she's an older lady when she
Mm-hmm.
connects into me. But when I'm here, she's like this youthful, like she's very young in
That's
that
so
space.
cool. That's
Interesting.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I think this is why I feel so passionate about it, because I feel like this is abused. It's abused all over the world, which is creating more disconnection from our planet. Not using these sacred medicines for the right reason creates more disconnect and more disharmony in the body, the mind, and the spirit, and also to Pachamama. Thank you so much, by the way, for sharing that with me. That's just so sacred, as I can feel her love for me right now. And I can feel her with me working this medicine, right? As I move forward as a shaman or as a medicine woman. I don't know if I feel always comfortable saying I'm a shaman, but I'm a medicine woman. But even when, for example, a few years ago, my husband and I decided to take part in the Utah State pilot program for growing medicinal hemp for CBD oil production. And so we were part of the state program, which means that we were observed by the state. They came out regularly. They tested our plants. But basically the state was trying to figure out if this was a good place to grow cannabis, because they weren't really sure because of the high altitude and dry climate. And cannabis in itself is a very sensitive plant. If it's under stress at all, it produces THC, which is, of course, what is used as a psychoactive. That's what actually creates the psychoactive effects of marijuana in our bloodstreams, in our bodies. But when you use CBD oil, the THCs are very low, and they're considered within that legal limit to be CBD oil or still hemp. But that particular oil is used for different things. It's used for it's an anti-inflammatory. It helps with pain regulation. There's been continuous studies about not just CBD, but CBG and all the different strains that can be used for different jobs for the body, to heal the body, But when I was growing this plant, acres of hemp, I was aware that plant medicine had wisdom on a mental level, I think more so. But when I went through that experience of growing this medicinal hemp, acres and acres of this, and walking through it, I really got its spirit and its energy and the other ways that it helps heal us as a multidimensional being in itself. Everybody who worked around this plant medicine, this powerful plant medicine, had to process deep shadows or help transmute deep shadows held within the solar plexus, usually issues around self-worth and their value, their confidence. They either struggled with depression or anxiety, and was really working with this plant medicine every day. It was interesting because as they would walk through it during the day, it had a very calming effect. And then at night, they would process all of this energy. All of these energies would come up to say, what do you want to do with me? What do you want to do with me? How do you want to cultivate the wisdom from these experiences? How do you want to move forward in your power and your truth? And what are you aligned with? Are you aligned with divine will or the ego's will? It would constantly bring up these questions in myself and my beloved, and then every single person we talked to, which we ended up employing over 120 people for this project. So we also worked with another medicine man, and he helped us grow these plants, and we did sacred ceremony at the time that we put them into the ground and at the time we harvested it. We sat with the people we worked with and said, you're working with powerful plant medicine, be aware and make sure that when you're entering the fields, that you enter the fields with reverence. This is a powerful teacher. Have respect. We approached all of our employees this way on the first day of their training. So this was something that we all talked about, but until you actually experience it on that level, I think sometimes it's hard to really understand it.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Yes. So it's amazing. And that is just one of the different, we talked about ayahuasca, we talked about peyote, we talked about cannabis. But even with cannabis, because you're dealing with such a powerful plant medicine and teacher, if you don't approach it in the right way, it will boomerang back at you in a not so positive way.
Yeah.
And it'll be around issues around the abuse of power, which are anything that carries the shadows within that solar plexus region, right? If you approach it with balance and with reverence and respect, that this is a powerful plant medicine, and I want it to be used to heal myself, the planet, my environment, all of those things. then the spirit of that plant medicine will come to support you on that endeavor. But if it doesn't stay aligned with that energy, somehow those will backfire. And so this was a warning that I expressed a lot during this project, and we didn't have everybody on board emotionally in the same place of understanding, and it ended up backfiring on them. But it was just something I was aware of as a medicine woman, and so was the medicine man that worked with me. We're just like, we're just telling you right now that
You gotta
if
be
you're
careful.
not doing this to be in service to humanity, it's just not going to work, because you're dealing with so much of this energy.
Yeah.
So it needs to be in the right place. So even on a smaller scale, if you're using these powerful plant medicines, make sure your heart's in the right place. And that you're with the right healers to guide you through these things in the proper way, you know?
Absolutely. There is such deep, 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 beautiful wisdom that can occur in healing, and that can be done in a very deep, soulful way with that powerful plant medicine. I think also when we had Brandon on, we talked about mullein and how mullein kind of looks like a candlestick, but it's also there to help ignite the fire within. And so we can take supplements or herbs to also have the intention of lighting that fire or bringing in healing in that way, or helping with the emotional aspect. And so you don't have to have a big, huge, giant sacred experience to find those healing effects. It can be done in everyday life. And so I just think it's really powerful, to notice that and to see the difference of how it's going to make you feel and how it can support you. So if you are looking to take an herb or some kind of tea, we would recommend to also look at the emotional and spiritual aspects.
Yes.
That it will also help regulate and bring up within you, because it will open up spaces of self-worth. It will open up if you have any insecurities. It might also bring that up to surface for you to look at and for you to heal. And that's not bad or wrong. It's just being intentional and being aware that that's what it came here to do and how it can help us. There's so many beautiful aspects. And so it's good to be aware of all of that.
Yeah. Like even as you were talking, I was thinking about the cacao ceremonies and the sacred cacao medicine. And when we're doing sacred cacao ceremonies, it really is there to open up certain chakras, especially in the energetic system, which is the sacral, the throat, and the heart chakra. And so when you use this cacao in the right way, it has a heart opening effect. It also helps you release any blocks around your sexuality, around abuse, anything that's has to do with the throat chakra and speaking your truth with love and passing through that heart space as you speak your truth. It also helps regulate blood sugar levels, which is connected to that thyroid, which is the throat chakra. It helps with all of the reproductive organs and the different parts of your body there, because it's working on different levels. And some people will replace coffee with cacao every morning. But for me, what I have found is that I have to use cacao sparingly, because what happens is it helps bring my blood sugar up to a certain level. And then all of a sudden it will cause me to crash. And so if I have cacao every day, it puts me on kind of a roller coaster as far as my blood sugar levels. Now, if I use it for ceremonial purposes, it doesn't have the same effect on me. I'm coming in with intention. I'm saying what I want to use during, why I'm using it, what I'm trying to open up in my space. That I am very intentional about the ceremonial space that I'm creating for myself and with that intention. And then it affects my body chemistry and my molecular system very differently. And I'm working in right relationship with the wisdom of that cacao medicine in my body.
Absolutely.
Right. So it just depends on how you use it. But that, of course, is a big popular thing. And again, I would make sure that even doing cacao ceremonies, that you have a medicine woman or a medicine man there to help create a sacred container for that sacred ceremony to take place, to keep that space clean as you work on yourself physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, and also merge with energies around you within that sacred container. I just think that it's very important that we work with people that know what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, because it can open up different portals of energy, of clearing, of powerful healing. But also, if it's not used with the intention, it can also be an opening experience for heavy energy too, I would say.
Yes. And you think too about someone who goes through an amazing experience with ayahuasca. They have these life transforming perceptions and experiences, but they don't have a way to process all of the information and the things that came to them during that experience. So they may experience a temporal change, like for a period of like a few months, maybe even up to 6 months, but eventually go back into old patterns because they did not have someone to go to help them process the information that was given to them. They were given a whole new perspective and a whole new experience. And there's such profound healing that can come with that. But at the same time, it's still good to be with those who know how to work with it, who can help guide you through processing all of that information, that energy, and those energy shifts after your sacred ceremonies as well. And like we mentioned before, like we talked about journey, you don't have to do this. I mean, this is it's not for everybody, and you and I have been able to journey and heal and create shifts in perception and everything by not using these the stronger plant medicines. We use herbs, the more gentle ones, but I'm talking like peyote, ayahuasca, mushrooms, and all of those. We've been able to do that through journey work and breath work and discipline, and using it every day and going deeper and deeper into altered states of consciousness to access these different realms.
Yeah.
And you can do that without using these strong plant medicines.
Absolutely. Yeah. So there's so many methods of healing, and it's just, are you willing and are you open and are you connecting into Mother Earth and the beautiful wisdom in which she provides you, and all the different tools and forms that it can come in, because there's so many beautiful tools. And so I hope that this conversation just opened up your mind a little bit of the 4-dimensional being in which you are, and how you can, heal and assist in your journey here even more by calling upon Mother Earth and her ancient healing wisdom and her plant medicine wisdom to be here with you, because that's ultimately what we all want, is to be connected. And when we're truly connected, we're connected to all around, which is also our connection to Mother Earth. We can feel the heartbeat of Mother Earth, the womb of Mother Earth, the love, the nurture that she has, as we do ourselves, as we do our sisters and our brothers around us. And it's really connecting that heart to heart space. But in order to do that, it's feeling all of it. Not even in order to, but as we do that, it brings in this healing of all aspects of your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual portion of who you are. Yes. And so why not? Why not explore who you are? And it might be scary, and it might be worried, and it might be like, I don't know what I'm going to see. But why not give it a go? Why not start using herbs in your everyday life? Why not use dandelion to help you with, if you have any urinary tract infections, or if you're having a hard time with your bladder? Why not use what Mother Earth has given us? Yes, when we have headaches, you were talking about willow bark, how willow bark is really good for headaches or for pain. Why not try that and see if it works versus going to your cabinet and pulling out ibuprofen? It's fine if you do, but if there's other alternatives that Mother Earth has naturally given us, why not? That's all.
Yes. And my hope too is, and amen to all of that, sister. Amen.
I'm like, drop the mic. That's all.
Yes, that's amazing. My hope too is that this will help deepen our connection and respect to Mother Earth and her wisdom. A lot of the disharmony that we are experiencing physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually is created from this disconnection. And so if we can remember that she is alive and her plants are alive and approach them in a different way, it shifts our relationship to life. It shifts our relationship to Pachamama and to all of her healing properties. And then we become better stewards. As a result, we become better stewards and take care of our planet better. And that is my hope, is that we approach her, Pachamama, with respect, not just ourselves, but her. And whether we're aware of it or not, she's alive and she has everything here that we need.
Divine Mother.
Like I said, to establish balance and harmony and cultivate happiness in our lives and health. So we hope that this show is informative. I know we covered a lot of information, and Jen and I could talk on and on about herbs, and we hope to put a class out here soon on herbs. So stay tuned, but we hope that you pass this on to whomever you feel needs this information at this time, and many blessings to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching Modern Sages. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We are so grateful for your support. If you want to follow us, we have an Instagram account as well as on Facebook. We have our podcast, which is the Modern Sages podcast as well.
And we are so excited to launch our Gifts of Spirit classes in our Modern Sages Mystery School.
Absolutely. Oh, we're so excited. So we're going to link the information below in the show notes for more information about our mystery school.